Warm greetings. Today I would like to discuss something very close to my heart as not only a participant to it, but also someone who is working on it for some time now. And it is about women leadership, women decision making, or the role of leading women in the society. And it comes at a very good time when one thing which is common across the political parties in India and, by the way, around the world, we will check it out, that woman belongs to one caste, and that is womanhood, and that their position in the decision making in the political system is struggling all over the world. But India is doing even little better as compared to 1947, but I will say that it is still in a struggling phase. In a country that produces more literate women than men, the role of women in Indian politics, in Indian bureaucracy, in Indian education, in Indian all big corporates, and women leadership, not only role of women, is really very disturbing. We are so far from talking about gender equality or equity. We are still minority when it comes to women leading several places and positions. And today I would like to focus only on the politics side of it. And it comes with the background when I read the statement from BJP MP Aparajita Sarangi, who is also an IS officer turned Lok Sabha member, who actually said in recently at the India International Center that woman belongs to one caste, and that is womanhood. And she also continues telling that it is a war for women to be in politics, and we have to fight with knowledge, experience, and grace. And for me, this is quite encouraging words coming from a bureaucrat turned politician, and also coming from a party which is not so woman friendly or woman inclusive, if we look at it that way. But having said that, as I already acknowledged, that we have come a long way, but we have a long way to walk ahead. So if I look at the way things are going on in the 17th Lok Sabha, actually there were barely 78 women, not even comprising 20% of the overall. In 18th Lok Sabha, it has even decreased to merely 74 women who managed to secure the seats. And this, as compared to when we started in independence time, a decade later, around 20 in the entire parliament, it's a long walk which we have walked as women leaders in the politics. I would love to talk about women leadership in other sectors also as part of my own research in water and built environment, which is ongoing right now. But let's go to the background of it. It's not that woman is not discussed. It's not that woman is not at the forefront of many policies and schemes in the country. It is from the very scammed Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign to many policies, from property to education to some reservation in some organizations, including our parliamentarian reservation of 33%. Uh, the thing is, when women are discussed, most of the time we get into that abla nari syndrome, and often it is to favor women to give something, and even women politicians do that. So this comes also at the background that we are diseased with patriarchy. We are rape capital of the world. We seriously have domestic violence problem in the country. The judiciary is also not that supportive. We have serious problem of widows issues, senior women senior citizens issues, and many more. And then when we move that discussion to coming to corporate environment, governmental office environment, institutional environment, the situations are a bit skewed to some extent. But let's take from the top position of the country, with having Indira Gandhi as the only prime minister so far in now nearly 80 years, I must say. to having only Pratibha Patil and current President Draupadi Murmu, just two presidents in the country, and within the entire 28 states and 8 unions, having only two women chief ministers, Mamta Banerjee and Rekha Gupta at present. And I am because I work more in the environment and water sector, I want to take you through some of the statistics since independence, mind you, the state of women political leaders in the country. um, in Ministry of Water Resources, which is also adding the Ganga. By the way, Ganga committee does not have women in the top position ever. The Namami Gange never had a director who is woman. Then in Ministry of Water Resources, we so far had only two women ministers since its formation in 1985. That's Meera Kumar and Uma Bharti among the 28 or 30 water ministers since 1985. In Ministry of Agriculture, which is now added with the farmer welfare, so far there have been no woman minister amongst the 30 plus ministers since 1948, where the majority farming population is more than 50% farming population or farmers are women. Now coming to Ministry of Environment, uh, which is really, really bad situation so far. We have now added climate change into it, and we barely had Amrit Kaur, Menaka Gandhi, Jayanti Natarajan, um, and Indira Gandhi holding additional responsibility along with her prime ministerialship among the 50 plus or 58 ministers so far since 1947. So this is just some of, and Ministry of Urban Development Affairs never had a woman minister. This is at the central state. But similarly, if you cut across the different levels of governance from states, cities, villages, bureaucracy, organization, corporates, academics, it's a very grim picture. I mean, I recall IIT having its first woman director, and that too not within India. That director had to be appointed outside India, and that for me is quite bizarre. IIMs is still struggling to find women directors to gender equity in terms of leadership, and it's the same across. I mean, and we also know this tokenism, sarpanch, where women are the kind of face of the position, but actually it is still remote controlled by the men in that villages. This is very common across India after the panchayat positions have been safeguarded for women. Now this is India, but let's see across the world what's going on now. I mean, we don't have actually much good scenario around the world, because currently we only have Giorgia Meloni as Italy's prime minister, Matt Fredrickson as Denmark's prime minister, Ingrida Simone as prime minister of Lithuania, Evika Silina prime minister of Latvia, Mia Mottley prime minister of Barbados, and Fiam Naomi Matafa Mataafa as prime minister of Samoa. So among those so many countries around the world, we are still talking about very few prime ministers, and if you look through their particular country's situation, it is the same scenario. And currently, we have Barbados, Iceland, and Trinidad and Tobago, only republics in the world where both the serving heads of state and head of the government are women. In Honduras, Marshall Islands, Mexico, Namibia, Suriname, and Tanzania, the republics, we have female president, combined head of the state and government. If we see like this, then we really need to ask, where are we lagging behind in having women leadership, and what it means to have women leadership in a country. Why India is unable to really produce as much as women leadership it should have, having Indira Gandhi walked that path. One may argue of nepotism in case of Indira Gandhi, but she also earned her position. Um, but yes, first opportunity makes a difference. But having said that, we have some very good ministers and leaders in the country at this moment. But why aren't they able to make it at the top? And that is something which we need to really think about, and we have to start working on its knowledge part of it. So are there enough people who are really capable to do it with enough experience, and if they are arriving to those top positions, are they holding on to the position with dignity? Mind you, I am always very very careful about women leadership when many women turned into that masculine approach and lose their femininity, and they lose the very very sensitive and sensible approach of working like a woman. And I want to give example of when the women leaders, they make some bizarre remarks on some girl or some woman getting raped or domestic violence, or or having some social abusing, and then these women leaders make some bizarre comments. And a very simple example is when women leaders talk about, don't go out of the house after 6 p.m. And I remember recently even Mamta Didi talked about something from the gang rape that happened in West Bengal. But in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, this is like something very common happening every other day. But women, first of all, women leaders are not coming out and talking about it. And secondly, men leaders are never interested to talk about it. And that's the Abla Nari syndrome side of talking about women. But then there are not many men leaders who are also interested to talk about women leaders. And there are not many women leaders who are actually supporting other women leaders to rise to the top of the ladder. And that is where I feel there is a problem. A country that hosts so many educated women, so many talented women, they are still unable to make it to the top. And the problem starts not only from the work environment, the political environment, the corporate environment, institutional environment. The problem also starts from home. The problem also starts from the way women like to be projected and seen. The problem also starts from the time when women they do not document themselves or their work and disseminate to the world as what they think, how they think, and they are not really going out to convey what they can do to the society. And I recall some of them doing it, and I'm talking in terms of women really taking a step forward to join the politics. And I often think myself over the time, when I look at my own inspirational ladies such as um, Sunita Narayan, Vandana Shiva, Medhatai, Medha Patkar, and many more environmental people, Amla Ruya, Indira Khurana. These women have really done a lot for environment, and I often wonder what if these women would have actually joined politics and changed the way we govern our water and environment, and even change the way we govern our women issues. And I really don't have answers to it why they are not taking those roles, and they are either content with the what they are doing. It's not kind of something which I am questioning them, but I am questioning the very way the society is made, and the very way how these influencing women even look at politics. There is something a serious problem in the way politics is held in the country. And with time we are also losing the entire dignity in the politics. And I feel very embarrassed to say that more and more educated women will be really refraining from joining politics if this is the scenario. To me, women like Mahua Moitra at this point in time, and for that matter, there are few women in TMC who really stand out for the way they conduct themselves. And these women have really walked a long mile to arrive to the position. They are very young women, and it's very heartening to see that they are trying to fight it out, the battle which actually all parties, all women should come together and take it more seriously. And I really propose to them that women politicians across parties should come together and really organize many events to talk about feminism, to talk about role of women in politics in India. I mean, I would like to close with some experience from my own research on going on women in water and women in architecture. Many a times when I am actually trying to reach them, I have their social media handles and the YouTube channels where we have more than 150 women spoken to us about being a woman as a change maker, women in the leadership role in their sector specific. And I often find this common pattern among these really bright women who are doing exemplary work in their field, that many of them do not really feel the importance of documenting their work and showcasing or disseminating their work to the world. So then it is kind of a disservice to the society, because then other women and other men don't come to know that women are performing, they are delivering, they are doing exemplary work, and they are committed. If they don't do that, then it is also discouraging for younger girls and women to know that one can walk this path. At the same time, it is also not informing the men and the young boys that women are also there as partners to decision making, partners to lead. Now look at the way our own parliamentarians laugh it out about women in even inside the parliament. Forget about the election campaigns. To change those things, I think women have to have a little louder voice, not only inside the parliament but also in the public place. And society has to accommodate and make an environment for women sector specialist women professionals to really consider joining the mainstream politics to bring a change, let's say even bring a change in their own sector, which they are doing in their very best way. But they can have a deeper impact if they can really go through the public route, which is the political route. I am very much in favor of women joining politics from whatever sector, whether it is medicine, whether it is architecture, whether it is water, environment. I think women who have really done deep work into their own sector should, and they have achieved everything they could in their life, they should really explore the possibility of joining local politics. And we have to really redefine the dirty politics for to do that. But I think it's a saying, no, that if you want to clean the system, you have to be in the system. I am pro joining. I don't have any connections, or and I mean I am not a nepotism child. But I think we need to find out ways how to join the mainstream politics if we really want to have a deeper impact into the society, even through our field also. Why not an education minister always be a doctorate in education? Why not an environmental minister, whether it is a state, local government, or it is central government? Why not those ministers are actually specialized by education in that sector? Why an urban development minister at state, city, and national level is not an architect planner? Why an environmental minister is not an environmental engineer or environmental ecologist? Why are these uneducated, illiterate, or differently literate people hold on to other positions? This is where I feel, because when you look at the sector of environment, water, women issues, gender issues, you will find many women excelling in their work. And if we can really have some provision, even, and if women can join at least this sector, not the mainstream politics to become prime minister and president, and why not, but even if, let's say, if they consider to join their sector specialist for specialization for joining politics, and if they can bring these slight changes, I think we are going to go a long way. And society needs that change. We have too much of masculinity and man-made disaster. Women are really the caregiver, caretaker, and are constantly busy curing the planet, curing the country. And they cannot do it sitting at the background. They have to really take the foreground. I will talk more about it some other day, but I really request all the women, sector specialist women, to really consider looking at these options, and I will request all the political parties to look for some, please, highly educated women leaders to include in their parties instead of those influencers, muscle men, and who are doing more harm to the society than really making some good to the society. More about it, my favorite topic, some other day. Bye bye.